Hello and welcome back to the Sunday special episode of the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana, but it is especially good to be here on a Sunday special with a very special guest. You want to introduce them?
Yes, I'm so excited to have one of Betches' very own, our senior account manager, Divya Ajari. Welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Are you nervous about being on the show?
A little nervous.
Okay. And
Well, we were nice with Julia. You saw her, you saw what we did there. That was fun, right?
Julia received some fame from this, from doing the podcast.
So to catch people up, if you don't remember the Julia episode, we're calling these the U Up debriefs.
Yes.
Okay. And we're not forcing. We're asking anyone in the office going through a dating issue of their own.
Yes.
Come on in. Mm-hmm. Talk to Aunt Jordana and Uncle Jared and tell us about. And honestly, this is the birth of this podcast. Really, is the oh my God, this happened. What do you guys think? And everyone has their own podcast on a Sunday. That's what we're doing on a Sunday special. Like this is what gone in this. You were talking about your relationship with us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Off air.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it all started at the Betches holiday party, and you were telling me at the table that you had just met a guy, and the story was like, not your standard story, and I was very excited to hear it, and I was very like living vicariously through to hear what happened, and it was really interesting to be able to hear it in real time. So I'm so happy you decided to come on the show to share it with the listeners, because I mean, it's funny because it's like not relatable, but it is relatable. Like what happened is relatable, but like the intricacies of it are unique. I think you probably think it's all relatable.
Well, I just think it's so funny that like you heard the story and you're like, there's a reason this podcast exists, is that like you like hearing these stories. There's some people that are like, dump him, it's over, goodbye.
That's why your dad doesn't host the show.
Right. Like my dad doesn't want to get involved with the story. Yes. My whole life I've been getting, so this happened. Right. And I'm always there to listen. I do enjoy gnawing on the bone.
As do I.
Of a story, and we both do. So we want to hear it from you, Divya. Let's start at the beginning.
Yes.
We'll start at the beginning. So as Jordana mentioned, it did happen the day of the holiday party. I was coming back from work the night before in my building. I live in the West Village, very near Jared.
We're neighbors. We see each other all the time.
We share a coffee spot, Blackstone.
Shout out Blackstone.
Plug City.
Huge family. Okay. Huge fan.
If you're looking to run into Jared or Divya.
I run into everyone there. It's a hot corner.
It's a scene.
It's a scene.
It is a scene. And it's like people are like dressed up for work and there's like everyone's got like their looks on. It's like a runway in the summer.
I actually blame you for doing that, because I used to go there hungover in sweatpants, no makeup, and now I can't because it's so crowded. All the influencers are there.
It is crowded. It's a family. I don't mean they might be listening because people send them the podcast.
Blackstone, yeah.
It's dad and his two sons.
Oh right, they made you a special coffee. I remember.
They are the most. They're not. It's a great bodega, but it's not like a place that you'd like. Ooh, I gotta go in there. And it like they make it special because they're wildly charming as a family, all three of them. So, but again, when people go there, there's a CNBC nature to this coffee shop that I've created.
So you gotta look hot when you go.
Yeah, you better. Don't come to my coffee shop
dressed to
looking
impress.
like shit.
Seriously. Okay, so we digress.
Yes.
So you live in the West Village, and tell us the story.
So I was coming home from work, really wasn't thinking much of it. A guy held the elevator door open for me. I had seen him around the building. He definitely lived there. It wasn't just some random stranger.
Okay.
And
had you thought he was like attractive when you'd seen him before?
No, I hadn't.
Okay.
In fact, I actually thought...
Oh, he's listening right now.
He reminded me of this later, that I had said something to him which I hadn't remembered, and that was I was annoyed by this construction noise that was coming from his apartment unit.
Okay.
But that was
from his unit. Is he like renovating?
Before he moved in, they redid the place a little bit.
So wait, how did he know that? So before he sees you for the elevator, you like complained to him?
Apparently he like got in the elevator when he first moved in, and I was like, oh hey, and he was like, oh, I just moved into that unit, and I was like, oh, the noise from that apartment. Like I was just
Right.
saying whatever.
Okay, small talk, which is big for New York City. I feel
Right.
like most people don't speak to their neighbors.
Right.
Well, also, again, everything's relatable. He's not just talking to you because he doesn't want to
Right.
talk to you. Like
true.
he's trying to make conversation, and then you came in with your positivity. Oh, everything's horrible.
No man. What I've learned is that
True New Yorker.
Right.
no man will ever speak to you if he's not looking to sleep with you.
Ain't that the truth?
Yes.
So,
But that was 3 years ago. So again,
That was 3 years ago.
yes, never
Oh,
really
wow.
remembered. And
Okay.
so the first conversation we had was really
So you guys
this
have lived
night.
in the same building for 3 years.
Yes.
Just you had
Just
that
in
small
passing.
talk in the beginning, and then that was it.
well, I mean, I'm sorry to slow us down here, but 3 years ago, he goes, "This attractive woman lives in my building. She's a little angry. I tried. Nothing came of it."
I don't know. She's responding. She wasn't like, yeah. Like,
Sure, but like I think like whenever they saw each other again, the next time they see each other,
okay.
conversation started. So it's like maybe he took he
Took a half shot.
a half shot, and
Okay.
he was like, didn't work. Put it in the background until we meet again.
Right.
Right.
So
Okay. So how often do you see him in this building?
Not very often.
Okay.
We found out later we have pretty different schedules. He's
Okay.
more of an early riser, doesn't work from home. I am more like late and do work from home. So yeah,
Got it.
different.
Okay.
things are pretty lax here at the Betches Corporation.
I'm getting that vibe. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, so
Okay.
he holds the elevator open for you.
Pulls the elevator open. We get in. We're both on the same floor. We're
Mm.
right across from each other. The units are just like right across from each
Okay.
other. So we're just talking. It was right before the holidays. I think we spoke a little bit about like going home for the holidays. He's like, I'm going to California, to the Bay Area. And I was like, oh, no way. Like I'm from there. I grew up there. Where in the Bay Area? And he tells me where. So we had that in common.
Okay.
Chat about that. He was like, are you going back as well? I was like, no, I'm staying in the city. My family's coming to New York City. So I'm actually having a New York Christmas. So that was that. Didn't think too much of it. Get to our doors, was like,
Was there like a
Bye.
vibe?
I mean, I definitely thought in my head, this guy's cute. And I was kind of thinking.
So now you're thinking he's cute.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was kind of wondering, why haven't I spoken to him before?
Right.
That was weird.
I think when you have these like these
cute
very
things,
rom-com
yeah.
meet cute things, you go, what?
They were standing in front of me the whole time.
Yes. And I remember saying that to Jordana
Right,
the
yeah.
next day. I was like, oh, that's so romantic.
Right. I didn't
Yeah.
realize when you told me that story that you had seen him, that you live in the same building for 3 years.
Mhm.
Okay. I thought one of you had just moved in or something.
Right. I'm on these apps swiping, and
Right.
he was just right
Right
across
here
the
the
hall.
whole time. Yeah.
But I do think when you have these like talks, you get romanticized, but you also go, I can talk to people.
Right.
You do have like a moment where you're like, what am I doing on these apps? There's people all
Right.
around me. You know, to me,
Right.
this is like,
I've still got it.
yeah. I'm sure there's a jolt of like energy from
Absolutely.
whatever this
Both of you,
conversation
I'm
is.
sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
And especially like the timing of it all. It was right during the holidays, end of the year. I
Right.
was so burnt out from the apps all
It's
year.
the fuck season,
Mhm.
Yes.
as
that's
I've said many times on this podcast. But
That's not something they talked about in the elevator, I'm sure. Okay.
how's your fuck season going? Yeah.
So you have this little discussion, tells you it's holiday plans. You get off at the same floor. You live on the same floor. How many
After you.
How many apartments are on this floor?
6?
Okay.
Yeah.
Smaller
there's
building.
6 floors.
Okay.
So everyone does know each other in the building pretty well. Like I
Right.
talk to most of my neighbors, but just
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get off.
Mhm.
What happens next?
We say bye. He says happy holidays if I don't see you. And I said, great, happy holidays. Go inside, and was thinking about it, but didn't know how to act upon it. I was maybe if I see him again, I'll say something, but that was kind of it.
Okay.
Next morning, have totally forgotten about it. Was prepping for holiday party, getting work done, working from home. Stepped out at around 2 p.m. and see a Post-it note stuck to my door, taped on.
Here we go,
Here
Sydney
we
Sweeney.
go.
Are you listening?
Yeah.
Here's your next rom-com.
Okay. And
I
what did
love
the
it.
Post-it say?
So it had a smiley face drawn on it, and I flipped it over, and it basically said, think I spoke too soon, want to grab a drink before the holidays. He left his name and his number.
Think I spoke. What does
Boom.
think I spoke too soon mean?
I think he meant to ask me in person when he was talking to me, but got nervous.
So
or
didn't speak soon enough.
Right.
Really. Okay.
He's
right?
not an English major.
Okay. So think I spoke too soon. And then what? I'm sorry.
He just said, want to grab a drink before the
Okay.
holidays.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
The important thing.
Yeah.
Drink, number,
Hot.
ask, and
Yeah.
this is all good.
Yeah. This is like the most, I mean, it was funny. Even just hearing the story, like this was the most exciting thing that happened to me last December. I was like,
Where do you have a Post-it note from? Like that'd be like I'm like, what is this guy? A Staples?
Yeah.
You know, like
I mean, it's very cute. It's a very
great.
cute
It's
idea.
very cute.
Right.
love everything about it.
And if
This
I-
is the
right.
dream.
If
really.
I'm her, I would be thinking this guy is like very into me.
Very into
At this point.
You know, from my perspective, I would go, this guy is like cute girl in the building.
Dangerous move.
First time I would actually relate it to the 3 years ago meeting.
Okay.
First time I took my half shot, didn't really do much. Second time, and then I felt it afterwards. Maybe I should have done something. I didn't. And then the second time, I said, next time I talk to her, I'm going to ask her out. Didn't do it. I'm back in my apartment being like, what are you, not a man? You know, you don't ask a girl out. You're a single guy in New York City. Then I go to my Michael's cabinet with my arts and crafts items.
Okay.
I write up on the Post-it note. And he's
Shooting your shot. I mean, it's a risky
but
move.
It's risky, but it's
Yeah.
also like, I think there's a thing my whole life. I've actually tried to do stand-up bits about this. The idea of like, talk to her, ask her out, be a man, you know. And I think all of us, we talked about shooting our shot on past episodes. When you do bold things, you feel good about yourself. You go, look at, I can do this. In the same way, I can meet someone in the elevator. I don't need the apps.
Right.
I am able. So I think from his end, there's good job, pat on the back. I did the thing.
Right.
I'm being bold. In the same way, women who shoot their shot are proud of themselves too.
Right.
So it's you, but it's a lot. There's a portion of it that's, look at me,
Right.
Yeah. And he
IRL.
told me later he's actually not on the app, so that is just the way he asks girls out. But
I wouldn't minimize it. I think it's like
Bold move.
It's a bold move for him, even not being on the apps.
You got to leave the apartment. to
Right.
Stick the note under
He had to
the door.
he
Yeah.
drew a smiley face. What is he, a loser? He had to do things that all his friends would make fun of him about.
right.
So and again,
Yeah.
this isn't.
I like
meeting
it.
someone
As
to me, like whether he's not on the apps, the way he probably has met women in the past is drunk in a bar.
Right.
You know,
This is a step
via
up,
Instagram.
yeah.
So this is
But also,
good for him. Is
but
my point.
is
I
he
guess.
not thinking, and I mean, so we'll get into what happens after this. As a man, is he not thinking, this is a little bit of a dangerous move?
I think
She lives on my
yes,
floor.
Of course,
There's 6 apartments.
But again, we've had 5 minutes of conversation. I want to get a drink with a cute girl. That's really like plain and simple. Yeah, I'll worry about what happens when it happens. And I listen. I wish I had more of that in me.
Right.
I wish I would just be.
Not
Fucking
not
dumb.
thinking 4 steps down the road.
I wish I only thought one step sometimes. And I think that it takes a little delusion to have any relationship go forward.
Because in my mind, I would be like, if I'm going to ask someone out on my floor, I need to marry them or move out.
There's only 6 apartments on this floor.
Right.
I don't know. I'd be thinking that later down the line. We're just getting drinks. You get this note and you're like, I got the goods at the holiday party. I have the story,
I have the story
to tell, and that's where Jordana gets involved.
Yes, I actually took a photo of it and then showed everyone at the holiday party.
At least you were cool about it.
And Jordana, you told her.
Yes. I said it right. And I said, okay, well, guys are going to have to get married or one of you is going to have to move because there's 2 ways that it could go.
Right.
Well,
Right.
you have to say yes or no to the date. Is that running through your mind? Are you like, it ruins the building? How are you thinking right
Yeah, I did have that thought, but again, I was kind of like in that end of year.
Rom-com-y.
Fuck
Yeah.
it mood.
I would do it too.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
now? Right? And he's leaving for a couple weeks if the drinks kind of go meh.
Right.
At least you have like that as a post buffer.
Yeah.
And you don't see him that often.
I
You're
don't see him
saying
that
it's not like you
often.
see each other every day. You leave
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah.
Once every 3 years.
Well, you've seen
Every
him
election
since. You've
cycle.
seen him more than that.
Yeah,
since then,
I
right?
have.
Yeah.
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 Elections every 4 years. That's okay.
I'm a dating podcast idiot.
Not a politician.
Yeah, right, come on.
Okay, so
So I text him. I say that was a pleasant surprise. Would love to get drinks, and we set something up for I think in a few days after that. And we end up going. I asked him to pick his favorite neighborhood bar because I wanted to see what his
Let's see his
taste was.
Good test,
Yeah, he picked the Other Room. I love that place.
The Other Room is in the West Village, deep in the heart of the West Village. I would call it deep in the heart of the West, closer to the highway
Street?
than not. It's on 12th.
Perry or
It's
12.
under a scaffolding
Yeah.
for maybe 100 years. At this, you know those places that are just like under scaffolding?
yeah, like under construction forever. Yeah.
Right. I am a fan of the Other Room from a looks and seating perspective. Like, it's dark, candlelit,
Good
this
date
time
spot.
of year. My only issue with the Other Room, and maybe this is kind of Plug City, kind of not, I think it smells.
Really?
Okay.
Huh.
Maybe that was the last time I was there. There
What
was
is it?
construction going on.
Like
It's a great wintertime bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it is, there was something.
Maybe they were having a
Nice.
bad day, smell wise.
Well, they're near, like you said, they're near that scaffolding, and it gets kind of gross out there. So I don't know if it was coming
Maybe more
from there.
smellier in the summer.
It might, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, and the scaffolding, it's just like they're doing work on something.
In there.
There was a stench,
Okay.
but
So I guess a half Plug City.
So no free drinks from the Other Room.
Right. But I would suggest it as a good first
First date spot. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great
Okay.
first date
You
spot.
approved.
I approve.
Okay.
So he does say over text at this point that he doesn't drink. And I was
Okay.
like, okay, interesting, because
He doesn't drink or he's sober?
He says I don't drink.
Okay.
At over text.
Okay.
Is
and-
it like FYI I don't drink?
Yeah.
Just- okay.
After I confirmed Other Room, he was like, FYI, I don't drink. So also open to get like food if you want. And I was like, I'm fine with drinks and we can see how it goes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So
Did he make
Interesting.
that more fun? Or was it FYI I don't drink? See you
So
then?
BYOB.
Like, what was the context of that text?
I don't
I just
remember,
wonder
yeah.
for my own, like, not to
How do you feel as someone who does drink getting that text?
more for me. No.
No, yeah, I was a little.
I do think it feels a little weird to go on a date where you're the only one
Yeah.
drinking. I
So-
could say.
It's a little bit of a
like
you've
a
taken
buzzkill.
air out of the
Yeah.
tires a little bit, and not to for those that don't drink. I do think there's a fun way to say it to try and pump that air back in. Like,
Right.
hey, I don't drink, but I love a mocktail, and I saw they
I
have a
think
great mocktail
he
list.
did say that. You're
Okay.
Yeah, he did
Okay.
say I'm like I drink mocktails
Okay.
or whatever.
So he's being
happy
cool.
with the seltzer. That's what he said. Something
Okay.
like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So
Where you're like, you're still paying, right?
I actually offered and at the end, and he was like, no, I got this. I asked you, and I was like, okay. well,
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that
Good.
line.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Okay.
Okay.
So we go to the other room, have a nice time.
Yes, we walk. Well, I made a joke over text. I was like, pick me up at 8 because he was right across the hall. So
Cute.
walked
So you
over.
walked together.
Into it.
Okay.
Walked over.
The rom com
The rom-com
continues.
ensues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Walk over, and that was really the first time I got to know anything about him. Like, I really curbed my instinct and like desire to look him up and stalk him before. But I think when
Do
you're
you know his last name?
no, honestly, I could have found it on the mailbox or something, but I
Right.
didn't. So yeah, I just wanted to be pleasantly surprised.
Go
I
into
was-
it. No previous notions.
I will
Yes.
say, this is like, it is interesting. They're like, the more you're on social media, the more depressed you are. Like, there's like a correlation, I guess,
course,
like,
yeah.
whatever. But I think when you meet someone in person, you're like, let's play this out. Like, you're less inclined because
Right.
you're not
to
on
ruin
the internet.
it, but to ruin it by looking at their
Right, like when
Or with
you're
dating
already
apps.
on the dating apps,
Yeah.
you're already on the internet, you're
Right.
already looking people up. There might be less of a
Well, here's the
you
thing.
know,
You
things
already-
in common. You know,
Right.
I think there's
you
like
create a story in your head
Yeah.
already before you even go on the
Right.
date.
right. This is kind of
And
the
with this
why-
person, you already know you have like a vibe
Mm-hmm.
because you've already spoken before.
right. You know the sound of his voice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a big thing.
Yeah.
So it's exciting.
it was
Okay.
exciting. Yeah,
Okay. So
and
the date goes well.
date goes really well. We end up having a lot in common. End up being age appropriate. Like, he's 31.
How old are you?
I'm 29. I'll be 30 this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So everything was good. We have similar like family structures. There was like a lot to talk about. He works in accounting. So he's an accountant by day, but he's a DJ by night.
Accountant
Love
slash
it.
DJ.
Accountant, DJ.
Only in New York.
Interest things
Living
that he
the
like.
dream.
Yeah, this is very New York.
In LA, they're waiter slash actor. In New York, they're accountant slash DJ.
I love it. I'm in favor of it. There's a DJ scene here, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and I'm really into the music scene. I mean, Jordana
Yeah.
once said that I was Fred again's biggest fan.
Yes, you were there like 4 nights in a row.
What's Fred again?
We went
that
for.
just sounded old as shit.
I didn't know.
What's Fred again?
I didn't know either. We went for Sammy's husband's 30th birthday.
He's a big music guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had it at Fred again at the Barstool Stadium in October. And then I saw that like Divya was there because she was posting about it. And then she posted about it like 3 nights in a row. So I was impressed by her Fred again fandom.
Mm-hmm.
He was good, I think. It was a little rainy for me.
Okay.
It's an outdoor stadium.
I can't
so-
hang. Yeah.
You guys go good together. It's a little loud in that apartment.
It's a little loud and
Fred again
rainy.
is fine,
yeah.
but the weather.
I'm a lot of fun. Anyway, okay.
Yes.
So you
I
are
was
vibing.
into it. I was
Yes.
into it. And so we had the drinks and then decided to walk back to our building. And I think we were like debating if we have roof access at this building. He said we did. I said we don't. So we go up to actually look.
Just wants to get you that roof.
The roof. There is like a city roof guy thing.
Wasn't that a episode of How I Met Your Mother?
I
Like,
didn't watch
wasn't that a
show.
thing? Get him to the roof.
I feel like I've seen that trope.
that
of
was
like,
like, yeah,
of like the guy in New York City who wants to show you his roof in his apartment.
right.
Oh, yeah,
that might
right.
have had a
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
I've definitely been invited to like
Like it sounds better than
let
like
me
you
show you
come
the-
over.
yeah.
Right.
Do you want to come to my apartment
Yeah.
rooftop?
The in between of street and
So you
apartment
could see
is
34th
roof.
Street and
Yeah.
Lex. It's magical.
Right. Well, you want to see the roof deck? Is
Yeah.
like, let me. Yeah. That is. I mean, that would be a great merch line for Finance Bros.
Wanna see
Great
my roof?
hat,
Wanna
like
see
this
my
hat.
roof?
Want to see my roof deck?
Yeah. Have
Yeah.
a drink on my. Come have a drink on my roof.
Right. So that's what we did. We went to the roof.
We went to
I'd
the
be like,
roof,
"What's the UV index?" Sorry. Go.
but, well, the door didn't open as I had suspected. It was
Okay.
locked.
Right. I guess we have to go to my apartment.
Yeah. So, we kissed up there at the landing.
As the guy does when he shows you his roof.
Right.
I'm in favor of everything that's gone on here.
It was
Yeah.
really cute. I was like, this is a very cute like New York City meet cute
Happening.
situation.
Yes.
So then we go back and then I made a joke, your place or mine, and
Okay.
he was like, you can come to mine. So we go to his.
Do you think you would have gone back with him if he wasn't your next door neighbor?
No, I don't
Really?
think so.
Considering how well this all went, you wouldn't have gone to hypothetical roof deck in another apartment?
I feel like it would have been less likely. I could see where you'd be like, "All right, I'm on the roof. We've done
I've
the roof make out thing. Like, I'm gonna go home."
No, but I guess would you have gone to the roof?
I
Oh,
think
would you gone into
I
his roof
I think
if-
I understand what going to the roof means.
Right,
And I think
implicitly.
if I were like a little younger me would have 1,000% have done it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I've been burned a couple times doing that on first dates that I'm like, I'm good.
Have
like,
you
we'll
seen
call
her
it a
share
night.
of roof decks?
More of a third date roof deck
No,
kind
I
of
just
girl.
kind of
Yeah.
like play it cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
want to,
Yeah.
you know.
But this
Wait till you see
because
my
of-
deck.
because of the nature of the relationship and the living
That's what I'm
situation.
saying. I think there's
it's
like a
easier.
comfort there
Right.
of like I
Totally,
don't
yeah.
know. I'm not going to say like taking advantage of that, but I do think that like there's a feeling of like safety, maybe like you.
Right.
don't know.
Well, there's safety in this isn't something you're saying out loud or maybe even thinking, but like, you know what his rent is.
Yeah.
You know, like he's got real
Without having to
job,
look it up
real
on Street
rent.
Easy.
He's in the
Yeah.
West Village.
I can find him if he tries to ghost me.
Right.
It's like-
Right. Knock on his door.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a
Okay.
lot of built-in consequence here.
So he shows you his record player.
shows me the things. We're like making out, having a good conversation, and then he says that he has to like go to bed. He has to get up early. He goes into the office every day.
Got to turn off this David Guetta and get to sleep. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was kind of it. I left. We didn't really talk about what like a second date or anything like that.
Right.
It was just kind of clean break. So I went home. Next day, another note is found on my door.
Another note.
Another note.
I didn't hear about the next note. Okay.
There was
This
another
guy.
note.
Cyrano.
Yeah, I mean, this would all lead me to believe like he is
Good
He is
stuff.
down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a good-
Also,
well, what did the note say?
The note said it was another smiley.
Stay out of my apartment.
You left your bra here. Okay.
Flip it
You
over.
ruined my vinyls. Why'd you have to
owe
touch
me.
everything? You owe me, $50.
He goes, that was fun. Is Thursday too soon?
Oh,
Yeah.
Boom.
I
Yeah.
love that.
Okay,
Okay,
so
it's all
Thursday,
sounding-
this is pre his trip home.
Yes, this is all pre his trip
Okay.
home. So I was like, wow, okay, I guess we'll get another date in before he goes. Like, that would be great. So text him back. I was like, giving him
Does he
shit.
have your number at this point?
He does. That's why. So I texted him and gave him a little bit of shit for leaving
Right.
another note.
I guess it's better than him like Snapchatting you. Like I think that the note is
thoughtful.
Yes,
This is
yeah,
cute,
yeah,
romantic.
Right,
He's
yeah.
playing
but
the,
right,
you
especially
know.
because he has your. If he didn't ask for your number, I think that would be weird.
Right.
Like
well,
right. We only communicate
Right, we
via
only
communicate
notes under the
exclusively.
door. Right.
knock 3 times on the window if you lie.
Great song.
It's funny to me that it's like, you guys get married. This is the best story of all time.
Amazing our story page.
This is
yes.
an amazing story. You got Post-it notes on the tables to show you
Yeah.
where to go to your
framed
table.
above your
right. It's
children's photos.
Post-it,
on the
it's a
wall.
whole
yeah.
theme, and now we know the end of the story before we get it, that
Yes.
it didn't work out.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, why has he got to write a note on your door? Why doesn't he just text you? It's like, let him be.
All right,
He's
fine. We'll
gotta be
go. We'll
cute.
go with it in real time.
Right.
Okay. So you
Yeah.
get the next note. You go out Thursday.
Yeah, we go out Thursday. He actually texted me. He hadn't really made a plan, and I hadn't really texted during the week. And then I texted him, and I was like, "Hey, what time do you want to meet? Like, what do you want to do?" And he basically said two things. One was that he was sick and not feeling well, so he was like, "Also good to reschedule if you don't want to get sick from me,
Okay.
or we can continue and have the date. Do you want to go play pool at Cellar Dog?" And both things didn't sound that great to me, to be honest.
Right. For those listening and don't know the New York area bar scene, Cellar Dog. Not
Also
where I'm
smells?
Going. It doesn't sound like it does. It sounds like it
Sounds like
smells.
it might smell.
It's basically on 6th Avenue.
And like Christopher.
Yeah, and Christopher. And it's like down a stairway. It's more
Right.
like.
I get
It's
why he
more
wants
like-
to do an activity though. That makes sense.
Also,
to
if
me.
he's
it's more
sober-
Dungeon
Right,
Dave and
yeah.
Buster's than it is drink spot to have a second date. But I get, the activity built in. There's-
Right.
They have ping pong. They got pool.
Okay. It's like a spin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to
yeah.
spin. Is that still open?
Spin is, I think, on the way. No, I think they moved to Times Square. They're where Caroline's.
Oh,
Oof.
okay. Never mind.
Yeah. For anyone looking for something to do in Times Square. Cellar Dog, I don't know. Activity date, I'm for it too.
I think especially if he doesn't drink, activity date 2 makes sense to me.
Right.
But also, I don't like, and this is what, the move of,
I don't like the sick thing. I
I'm
agree.
sick,
yeah.
but if you don't care about your own health,
Right.
let's go to
it's like
this
how bad do you
basement.
want
Like,
this? Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't really sold it. And you've
Right.
made this a very romantic meeting.
Less.
You've
Right, especially when
pissed on the flame a little bit.
Right.
I think that happens especially when the guy is like late to make the plan.
Mhm.
It's always like a little bit of a womp womp situation because it's like, are you excited or are you not
Yeah,
excited?
Like, I was so
Right.
excited, especially
Right.
after the note. I was
Yeah.
like looking forward to it all week.
I agree. It's like a mixed. I think that's a mixed message.
Right. And I don't think anything happens for no reason at all. Is he trying to
Press the brakes a little
Infect
bit.
her?
Yeah, hit the
Oh.
hit the brakes. I think
Yeah.
she's trying to slow this down. He realized, holy shit, I'm a romance novel here.
Yeah, it's
I'm,
with the
you
girl
know,
next door.
right?
Yes.
And he's like, he's realizing everything.
Right. I've got to douche it up a
Or-
little bit.
Right. Or
See what I can do.
he's genuinely sick and just
Yeah.
fucked up a little bit.
Right, and then chooses a poorly ventilated basement to bring you to. Okay.
So I made a suggestion. I said I still want to see you. Would love to do that if you're feeling okay and up for it. Do you want to maybe just grab like a casual dinner somewhere around here? Because I also felt like we're still getting to know each other. I don't love like an activity date on the
Okay.
second date. It's just like hard to talk and hear in that kind of environment.
Fair.
So we end up doing that. He goes for it. I'm okay with.
I like
Getting
that
a
you also
cold.
changed the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's
Yeah.
no good for me, but how about a dinner?
Yeah.
Love it. And we talked about this in our last episode, the idea of like getting a text you don't like or a texting, feel you don't like and being direct but positive at the same time.
Right.
Right.
Like that's
Here's
direct
another
and
idea.
positive. Here's another
Yeah.
idea. Here's something I would like to do.
Right.
Okay.
So we
Where
end
did
up.
you guys go?
We went to Ja 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 or Ha Ha Ha, however you pronounce that.
So I have a story for every place. It's a vegan Mexican place.
Yes, and
Vegan.
I'm
Ha ha ha, ja ja ja.
vegetarian.
You're vegetarian.
Yeah.
Okay, so and you told him that.
Yes, so I do think he
Alright,
picked
but
it.
he picked it.
Yes, he
Okay,
suggested
thoughtful.
the
Great
restaurant.
choice.
Yeah.
It is a really, when you say vegan anything, people are, really good.
Yeah.
It's a good spot.
Vegan
good
cheese.
drinks.
Good drinks. We actually sat at the bar, which also made it more fun.
Yep, it's a good bar spot.
Yep.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we got tacos, shared tacos. I had a drink. He didn't. And yeah, it was totally fine. Like the date was great. Still was getting to know each
Right.
other. Had good conversation.
Also important to note that I guess you're both sober on these dates,
Pretty
right?
much. I mean, I
Which
was
to me is-
one or two drinks in, but yeah.
Yeah, but that's like I assume you're not like drunk.
No.
No, I think that's important
She's drunk
context
right
for
now.
like the intimacy of like the
Right.
the date. Like
Well, this wasn't like a Saturday night, I'm out, come meet me.
Yeah.
This was an intentional plan.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's also to your point why the vibe felt more genuine is like there's definitely been dates where I've had too many drinks and imagined
Been
the,
there.
yeah,
Yes.
the connection in my head.
for sure. Yeah.
So
We have a nice time.
we have a nice time, and that's when he actually, I forget, I mean, I told him I work at Betches and love you up, and that's when he said he listens to the podcast.
Hello.
Hello. Hey.
Sorry. Okay. Go on.
And you came up, and we were just talking about how you live in the village and
Yeah.
all of that. So that was a nice little connect there too.
Okay.
And then we go back. I was like, do you want to come? You've seen your place. Do you want to come see my place? So he comes over. He's like looking around, looking at like my photos and whatever, just looking at the apartment and
Investigating.
investigating.
Takes out his black light.
Yeah.
He's like, why do you have nicer like
Oh, yeah,
finishings
I
of,
mean,
like
Right.
your
That would
fridge
be a reason enough to go to someone's apartment. I'd be like, I want to.
Absolutely.
What's your layout?
Yeah.
Right.
Anytime a door's open in my building, I'm like, what's going
Yeah.
on?
Right.
This
In
fridge
these-
looks
in this
newer than
dimension.
mine.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great, and then we start to hook up, and then he starts to get really sick. So the sickness that
How does he start to get sick? Is he like coughing on you?
he's coughing, there's some sneezing, there's
Okay.
some things happening.
Sneezing
there.
is really not a sexual body.
Yeah.
Is his nose running? Paint the
Right.
picture.
no nose running.
Okay, so he's really sick.
Can you imagine you making out with someone?
I'm saying he wasn't lying about the sickness.
He
like the
wasn't
sick-
lying, no, but it also felt like something was off. Like
okay.
he was also getting really awkward and like weird.
Okay.
He wasn't comfortable.
Yeah, he wasn't comfortable. He was in his head, so that didn't go.
Did he say I'm
Too
in my
right.
head?
No, but I could tell.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
What do you think is happening from your
well,
perspective
I'm trying to think
as
like,
a man?
you know, is it just like PG kissing going on? I mean,
No,
like, it's moving
it's
forward,
moving
and then you
forward.
could feel him pulling back.
Yes, and he
At
was
the
like
same time,
asking
it's
me. He's
moving
like, "Are you
forward.
sure you want to do this? Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, it's fine." But
Well, that I do think this is, again, if
This
I'm
is
to
an
get
important
inside,
moment, I think.
very important
Yes.
because it's all coming together.
yeah,
You're thinking of what if I fuck up my apartment maybe before. I think this is the first time he's really thought it through.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Or about
like
to
if
get intimate.
Right,
yeah.
we're about
Or-
to get intimate. We're on the same page as like being attracted to each other, enjoying each other's company. But I don't know if I'm on the same page as like, oh my God, I'm
This
going
is
to
the
see this
one.
person in
Yeah.
the hallway. Right. Like, oh my God, I put all these Post-it notes everywhere and I fuck myself. You know, like,
Right.
I think and it's not a personal thing.
Mhm.
I think it's more like, what does this all mean to everyone here? Because I know what it means to me, but I don't know
Right.
how to ask what it means to the person who
Well,
I'm intimate with currently. Like, I understand.
It's almost like hooking up with someone at work. Like
Right.
now you're kind of thinking about, okay, what does this mean? This is
Mhm.
going to be like more of a thing than a regular date.
Right. And
Yeah.
you've talked about this too, Jordana, as like how like maybe they think you're getting more attached or you will be more attached now
Right.
once this happens. So
Yeah.
they start to pull back a little bit.
Which I think they're right. Like
Mhm.
for me, at least, they're
Mhm.
right. I would have, like, if I slept with my neighbor who sent me to this extremely romantic thing for me, I think I would be like, okay, like that's my boyfriend.
I mean,
Should we move in?
Right. Yeah.
to speak from my own perspective, there's many times that I've been like, you know what, pizza's a better decision now, and I can put off this decision till later.
Right.
And I think if I'm to empathize with his side, it seems as though he was like, the sickness gets me out of here without having to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying like, which I'm sure you would have appreciated, to say,
We should
Hey,
go
this-
take this slower.
This was fun.
Yeah.
I love. Great to see your apartment. I gotta wake up early tomorrow, and this might be moving a little fast for me, but like I definitely had a great time tonight. Like both can be true.
Right. And even like saying like I had a great time. I'd love to like see you again when I'm back.
Right.
Like
Right.
that would be enough, I think.
And there's also like, but then he's also dealing with that dog.
Right.
in
And plus
him.
it's like,
and he's
yeah,
like,
you're in the moment.
I'm in the moment.
Yeah.
So like that's also at play too. Like
Yeah.
the human, like I'm into this.
Right.
But I'm also like my brain just fighting with my body a little bit. I think like
I
you
get
know,
it. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what happens?
maturity, mature me is like if I'm
And
in
he's
that
sober.
situa- and he's
Important.
sober.
So that
Right.
that yeah, so that's a good segue because that ends up being more so I think the reason the next day or next morning, I asked him about it. I was like, "Are you good? Like, is everything?"
So he stayed over.
He stayed over.
Okay.
And I was like, "Are you okay? Like, is it just because you're feeling really sick? Like, what's up?" And he was like, "No, I think it's more like I'm not really used to dating like sober, and that's like new for me."
Did you get more information on the drinking stuff from that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
That date and then a little bit on the next, he like opened up a little bit about it. And I
So he's
I
recently sober.
yeah, and I
Okay.
respect that. Like I don't want to like throw him under the bus
Sure.
for any
No,
of that.
No.
I mean,
That's fine. Yeah.
again, this is the emotional bumper cars that we're playing. When you're on dates and you're trying to figure out, like, I'm sure, I don't know what amount of like personal therapy he's doing, but like it doesn't matter.
Right.
You don't know until you're playing the game
What it's going to feel like.
what
yeah.
it's gonna feel like. So he's in the game, and he's probably dealing with like a lot of things are at play. Maybe this is level 10, and he's maybe more ready for level 2.
Mhm.
Right.
So we wake up next morning, you have a little brief chat.
Yeah, we have a little brief chat. I was really, I thought, understanding and receptive to whatever he was telling me, and that made a lot more. It put everything into context. I think that had happened the night before, so I was like, okay, I understand. Like, thank you for sharing that with me, and that was it. And I had to go, and he had to leave as well, and so
Okay.
he went over to his apartment, and then he came back. He like knocked, and I was like, "What happened?" And he's like, "Here's some like Advil and like emergency in case you
Okay.
get sick."
So he's trying to be like Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
being cared. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it.
All right.
This is nice.
It's nice. I think it's a little mixed messages, but it's nice. I understand there's no like he's not like it's mixed messages because he's sort of in the middle of a mixed feelings,
Mhm.
maybe.
Right. This is like I love this conversation because this is like the basis of this podcast
Right.
a little bit. Like,
But if
It's
I'm
not
her, I'm
about
thinking
you.
like, is he into me? Is he
Oh,
not
I was
into
Right.
so
me?
confused.
Right.
But
It's
what-
not about her, but it does matter to her.
right, of
So
course.
It's like, yeah.
And I understand why you would make it about you. We all make it about us.
Right.
Mhm.
So, but he's making this about him,
Mhm.
like, and I kind of like understand his like, it's not about her, but I may have made her feel a certain way because I act a certain way based on the things I'm trying to figure out in my own head. And
Yeah.
it has nothing to do with her. It has to do with me and my relationship status and where I'm going in life and all this.
Right.
Mess
and
of
I
shit.
didn't get like, you know, when after a date ends, you kind of get that like, this was great, this was fun, like I
Right.
had such a nice time, or like I'd love to do it. Like I didn't get any of that. It was like very much like silent. So
Okay, so he was like being like awkward.
he was being really awkward.
It's
Okay.
it's one like I can understand from his end. Maybe the best thing to have done is like kiss you at the door and then go home.
Mhm.
Like,
yeah,
and that would have been perfect night.
but he didn't do that.
And he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's yeah. So
All right. So how are you feeling after he leaves and
I
you
was-
have your Advil?
I was
And-
confused.
Why did Advil like in case you got sick?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Not because you're hungover. Got it. Okay.
I was confused, yeah, but then I was also like tired. Like you never sleep well when someone is
Right.
sleeping next to you.
Right.
And so I was like, you know what, it's fine. Like I'm just gonna. I had things to do. I had plans. I just jumped in the shower and I was gonna go out. I was gonna meet a friend for coffee at Merriweather. Another. This is just becoming like all the West
A New
Village
York
this
plugs.
is Plug
Right, yeah.
City. Merriweather Kitchen is a Australian breakfast place. I have like a
No, this whole episode is
dossier.
actually just sponsored.
By the
You
West
know,
Village.
you are
It's good.
you are a senior account manager.
a little expensive.
Make sure you send them.
Right. Send these
The
to all
plugs,
the
yes.
brands. A little expensive at Merriweather,
Yeah.
but I would call it elevated coffee.
How's it smell?
Good smell.
Okay.
So he doesn't drink coffee.
He doesn't drink coffee or alcohol.
This loser
Okay.
listens to this podcast.
No.
What's his drug of choice?
He drinks matcha, and so Meriwether has a good matcha.
Oh.
So this is why I bring this up, is I had gone there to get coffee with a friend, did not tell him where I was going. About 30 minutes in, he walks in.
Stop it.
I'm like, oh, not this. Like, I just...
Or at least you were there first.
Yeah, at least I was there
Right.
first. Now
Yeah.
I'm like, is he stalking me? Like, what's going on?
Right.
And he is getting
Did he
like
say
a cup.
hi?
He's getting a cup to go. So I'm
comes-
sitting at the table. He walks in and he sees me and he's like,
Am I being too macho?
yeah.
Ah.
So I see him, I wave. My friend's like, do you know that guy? And I was like, it's a long
This is the
story.
day after he was just at your
Yes.
apartment. Okay.
Yes.
Do
that
I
morning.
know him?
So I text him and I'm like, I think I said something like stalker or something funny.
Okay.
And he replied and he was like, I had no idea you were gonna go there. Like, that's my go-to spot. They have a good matcha, whatever. And I was like, you could have just said you wanted to see me again, haha, or something.
Right. Okay. Flirty.
Loving
Cute.
this.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah.
And he replied and he was like, of course that's the real reason, but much more fun to go around or to speak in circles. And I was like, okay. But then I just didn't
Right.
leave
Is
anything.
he like
to
a little
say.
bit of like an awkward guy?
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm getting from like the first interaction and the second interaction and like the note a little bit.
Yeah.
And this. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's just like a little bit. He's not like the smoothest guy.
right.
That's
Which
what
is
I'm feeling,
weird coming
okay.
from a DJ, but
They don't speak. They don't speak much, right?
Yeah, I don't think you have
Yeah.
to be smooth to put one ear off of your
Yes.
headphone and put one
Press a
hand
few
on.
buttons.
Yeah, press a few buttons. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Accountants are usually quite suave. I mean, I'm married to one.
You know that old.
Yes,
That-
the old trope is true.
Yeah. So
Okay, yeah.
so I don't.
now we're holiday season. He's heading off to the
Yep.
Bay Area.
Yep, he's gone. I don't have anything to really say to that. In my head, I'm like, he'll reach out to me when he comes back if he wants to set something up.
Okay.
And this is where like the idea of momentum gets involved.
yeah.
We're going away. What will this be?
Beware,
Well,
right.
and again, beware of vacations. Beware
Right.
of trips home. Beware of, and honestly, like, it would have been had there been no sleepover.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like a nice kiss at the door. I think you're still in dreamland. He's still in dreamland. I think he goes home and it gives him the buffer he needs to like think about these things.
I agree.
But I'm not blaming the sleepover. You know, I'm just saying that like
It adds another layer.
it adds
of complexity.
Yeah,
Right.
especially
Totally.
the time away right after you feel super vulnerable,
Right.
and then you're like,
yeah.
oh, now I'm not going to hear from this person for a while or see them.
And he didn't
Right.
text you?
He didn't text me
Okay.
the whole
No.
time.
Did he
Did
text
you
you
text him?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe I was at fault there. I could have
Do you-
taken the initiative.
At
but
this point, are you like, I like him, or are you more like maybe a little bit more intrigued by his more standoffishness?
probably
are
the
you-
latter, actually. Yeah.
Right.
I did really like him, but I don't know if it was like the idea of it.
Right. Well, I think sometimes it's like someone comes on super strong in the beginning, and super strong. I understand is like the note isn't so incredibly strong, but it is like he's making like a serious move,
Yeah.
and then they start to pull back a little bit, and that is kind of a move. Not saying that it's conscious, but it is a move that will get you a little bit more invested.
I'm trying to think of like, you know, I'm talking this out.
Mm-hmm.
What's the move for him to do? I guess like if he was to do this perfectly,
Do what perfectly?
pursue you, but also know that like he's not sure what he wants us to be.
I think
You know, like how
no
does
apartments.
he play both?
I think no one goes in each other's apartments.
You say, "Hey, this has been a lot of fun, but I'm not going to come home. I'm still in decision mode." Like, who is he to say
Usually,
that?
I'd rather take this slowly. I think when someone says, "I'd rather take this," I'd rather go slower. I think that to me means I'm still in decision mode. If you read between the lines,
I would. I think it can go either way. I think that can also be messaging for "I like you so much. I don't want to." I don't
I've
want
also
to.
had guys say that to me. They're
Right,
like, I
that-
really like you. I'd like to take this slow.
Right.
Yeah.
And it can go both ways. So saying nothing feels like almost not respectful, but like the better way to go, even though it's not. Like I'm as unsure of what to do as this guy is.
right?
Like,
Well, that's because he hasn't thought about it before he even made the move. Like that's
Right,
why he
well,
should have played it out.
So okay.
Okay.
So you
we get to New
back.
Year's.
He's still away.
He's come back because I can hear everything in the hallway. So he's
I
back.
can hear Sandstorm from here. Turn it down. Trying to get some sleep over here.
So he's back, and then this is when.
Oh, someone's home.
So then I come into the office. The office is reopened, and then that's when I bumped into you in the kitchen, and you said, "Hey, how'd it go with the guy?" And I was like, "It's been good, and it's been bad, and this is what's going on."
I remember this.
Yes.
This is when I come into the play.
This is when Jared comes.
This is when he got involved.
This is when
Brought in the big
Uncle
guns.
Jared.
Both of you said you should take it into your own hands. Like, you should be direct with how you feel. Like, if you want to see him again, you should ask him out. There's nothing wrong
Because
in
he
doing
hadn't
that.
texted you since that day.
He hadn't texted me. I think both of you said not to really do the small talk. Like, I was trying to see if I should give him a window to ask me out and be like, "Hey,
I think
how's
that's just
your holidays?"
torturing yourself a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So
Wait, explain that version.
I was saying, like, if I reached out and was like, "Hey, how are your holidays?" that would just start the conversation, put the
Right.
ball
Give
in
him
his
the
court.
opening.
Right. But then you risk him not even replying for a while.
Or being vague,
being
and then you kind of
vague.
are still left in that vague sense of
right.
Whereas
Yeah.
I think like, hey, like now that the holidays are over, like let's get another drink.
Well,
Yeah.
again, and it's ownership. I'm down to get the drink.
Yeah.
Like you're basically when you come in with like, there's no question.
Right.
You're not just
And
texting
because
me to
he
make
lives-
small talk because he would have that as a excuse.
Yes, and because he lives in the building, I think you need more clarity. It can't be living in
Right.
this like, oh, we've texted, how what's
limbo.
up, and then like
Good
forever.
to see you.
Yeah.
Not knowing what that is. Right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed out on a piece. So I did actually bump into him, I think on January 1st or 2nd, or maybe it was like December 31st or something like that. And I was going up the stairs. He was coming down, and I was like, "Oh, good to see you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Happy New Year.
Haven't heard from you.
Yeah, and
How was home?
I was home. He was like, "Well, I was really sick on the flight back, and then I was sick when I got home, but now I'm fine." And then it was great. How was time with your
Show me the
family?
doctor's note.
I know.
This guy's got a lot of ailments.
And yeah, then I was like, "What are you doing for New Year's?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm playing like a venue or whatever."
Got a gig.
He had a gig.
New Year's gig. Big money.
And that was it. He didn't really like ask me what I was doing that weekend. He didn't.
Okay,
He
he's
was
not
in
really giving you
receiving-
much here.
No.
Receiving mode,
Didn't
playing
say
prevent
Can I ask
defense.
what you liked about this guy?
The note.
No.
The note, I mean, it's nice, but
The
I'm saying, like, what
pursuit,
about
the
the
note.
personality? Like,
Yeah.
are there parts of, like, did you feel like you actually liked him?
Yeah, I thought he was like caring. I thought he was smart. There was
Okay.
like some good conversation there.
Okay.
Well, I think also
saw
you're getting a
potential.
different version of him. When you're getting, I'm trying to think of the real person is the pursue is more the pursue guy. The real personality, the real charm is the pursue guy. The ick version is the guy who's not sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when he starts acting maybe not himself or maybe a little bit more
Or maybe more
corporate.
himself. Who knows?
Maybe.
Right.
I would think that when you're in a position of you got to make a decision, I just think you're seeing the version of them when they're indecisive,
Right.
which is not a hot look.
Fair.
Well, Jared says ask him out, and I think what we have in common, as we spoke about you up, Jared looked up on the cellar and saw Jared is performing the next night.
Right.
Um,
and I'm just like our past guest, Esther Perel. I'm always selling.
There you go.
I'm always selling.
You're like,
these
I have an
tickets.
idea for a date for you guys.
Well,
Yes.
the
Pay me
tickets
money.
were sold out, so I had to pull a
Oh.
Jordana and ask for free
Wow,
tickets.
I love you. We
And
taught you
look,
well.
Uncle Jared came
Yes.
through.
Uncle Jared came through, added us to his little list,
Yep.
and
And for the listeners, I don't have a list. I get these messages all the time, and it's always 5 minutes before. Can you get us into the 9:45? It's 9:50. What are you talking about?
The show has already begun.
Right.
so yeah, he replied immediately and was like, "That's so fun." I was like, "Tomorrow, 8:00, Jared's show." Like,
And he was like down.
absolutely, he replied quickly and was like down.
Okay.
and so
Another mixed message.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but he's in. He's
He loves me, he
pulled
loves
at the
me
ro-
not.
Yeah, there we go.
And you had suggested on the way to kind of not grill him, but be like, you know, I
Give him
hadn't
an
heard,
out.
yeah, I hadn't heard from you.
Yeah.
Was there any reason? So on the way, on our walk to the cellar, we talked about like what he had done that week.
Mhm.
I was like, have you been really busy? I haven't heard from you. And he was like, oh, what do you mean? And he like kind of looked at me and like smiled. And I was like, I don't know. You just like never asked me out again. And he was like, oh, I didn't know you wanted to go out again. Like I thought you didn't want to.
That's an annoying.
yeah.
Tough for me to
thing, yeah.
defend.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't sound like he's very good at communicating.
Yeah.
I'm getting
he
that.
ain't vulnerable.
Right, because
When he went into I'm sneezy, gotta get out of here.
Right.
And now you've given ample opportunity
Right.
for him to be like, listen, cards on the table. I had a really great time, but I'm just not sure, and it's a little awkward to live across the hall from you, and it feels like a big mountain to
Right.
climb, and that's what I'm dealing
Not-
with. He could have said that.
I didn't know you wanted to speak to me again. That doesn't make any sense.
It's not fair
Okay.
of him to say.
So I said, of course I did. That wouldn't have asked you out if not. And he was like, no, I'm really thankful that you did that. This is so exciting. Like,
Okay.
happy, like we're doing that. What can I do better to communicate with you? And I was like, again,
Man, you're like a therapist. This
well,
is
I thought he, again, I
Well,
thought
it sounds
he
like
really liked
yeah.
me.
Right.
I think
like-
this all sounds like he's.
No,
in
you're doing a great
again.
job.
Yeah.
You're giving him direct.
We are
with
doing a
positivity.
great job.
We
I have both of you
You
on
and
my
Jordana,
shoulders
yeah.
here. Yeah. So yeah, I was like, well, hearing from you once in 10 days would be really nice. Like just left it at that.
Fair,
And he's
okay.
like, totally fair. Laughed it off. I was like, I'm not going to give him more shit than this. We had got.
That's
we
fine.
got
Yeah, I don't think
there.
it needs more like
Yeah.
why and tell me why.
Right,
yeah.
right. And then we had.
You've stated
great-
your needs.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Stated my needs. We had a great time at the
Show
cellar.
was good.
Like show was awesome.
Okay,
Jared was.
I'll pay you later.
Jared killed
Gotta
it.
sing for her supper.
What's
Gotta
that?
Sing for her supper with these tickets. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But we had really fun, and like I mean, you know this about the cellar. Like I think it's a great date idea because they group you at different like tables, and so we were like talking to the people around us and having fun with that
Right.
while we were waiting for the show to start.
Not to
Plug
not
City.
to go to Plug City, but it is a fantastic.
smell?
It smells okay. It does have a certain stench.
it smells okay.
but
I've been there, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good, not bad. It feels like you're doing a New York City thing.
Yeah.
Great
and you're
sober date
amongst
also.
sober date.
Yeah.
You're amongst people.
Yeah.
There's things to talk about. Which comedian you liked? Which did you not like? Did
Yeah.
you like the
You
host?
just see how someone laughs.
Right. How they laugh.
I was looking at that. I was like making sure he was laughing at all the like
The correct
the correct
jokes, yes.
things.
Right.
And he was like in my ear during the show, like, oh, that was so funny. That was so great. Like
right. This
it
is
was
an intimate thing.
Right.
I'm,
So great date.
great day. He's
Okay.
like holding my hand. Like it was good. Then we leave. We go back to his place. We're talking a little bit more. At like 10 o'clock, he's a little bit like Cinderella, like on the clock. He's like, "You need to go to bed. I
Mr.
need to-
Sneezy.
Need to
Okay.
get up early. You need to leave." Kind of vibe. So I was like, "Okay, I'll leave." And I was a little put off by that, to be honest. I was just a little like, "We're having such a great time. Like, can we just let the good times keep going?" Like,
Right.
Well, right. Well, maybe he's like again, if he knows now that you're interested and he doesn't want to like be intimate again,
yeah,
potentially.
yeah.
To
yeah.
like if he's figuring it out, which
Right,
I think would
to
be a
muddy
good
the
thing.
water.
Right.
Right?
It's respectful, and also we've changed courses from before, so it's a little confusing. I can
Right.
understand that, but right, if he had done these reverse,
Yeah, he should have done the reverse.
but
Yes.
you know, who am I to say that I'm not beyond mistakes like
Sure.
these?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so
You
I go
leave, I
home.
assume.
I leave.
I'm not leaving. Okay.
And he texted me the next day, said he had a great time, really loved our conversation. Thanks again for inviting me to the show. Sorry if it felt like I was kicking you out. I'm like very type A. I have a schedule that I have to like abide by. I need to like go to bed and like wake up. So I'm
Okay.
yeah. It was fine. And I said that's totally good. Like no worries. I think I might have said something that like maybe could have started to trigger what happens next after this was that I said if I'm having a great time with someone, usually it does go later, but all good if you have a schedule to,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
you have
I think
to
that's
stick to.
fine. You're sort of expressing that he was correct in thinking like it was a little weird that kicked
right.
you out.
Maybe
Yeah.
he saw my reaction. And,
Sure.
Yeah. And then I don't hear from him for like 3 days. And
He doesn't answer that.
No. Doesn't
Okay.
answer that. So again, I'm spiraling. I'm like,
And again, that's not really nice of him. You were just
Right.
vulnerable with. This is what I like.
Yes.
You know, I would have liked to. You're telling him I
Yeah.
would have
Why
liked to. Have had more
Why
time.
text her in the first place if you're not going to like engage in
Well,
that
he was
conversation?
cleaning it up.
but only
So
on his end.
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he was cleaning up the night before, and then he got his positive text back, and he goes, "Okay,
Right. So then on Sunday, I get a text and he responds to that very like short and was just like, I totally understand what you mean by that. Also, what are you doing today? Do you want to get coffee this afternoon? And like normally I'd be like kind of put off by a same day date request, but it was like one of those
Fourth
rainy,
date, I think, is fine.
Yeah, and we live again. We're like so close.
I think at this point, a day of date is
And
casual.
It's
fun,
Sunday,
whatever.
right?
Yeah, it's Sunday,
So it's
and
like
it was
Sunday, we're chilling. I got nothing
Yeah,
going
it's
on.
like
What
rain.
am
I would be a little
forever.
worried though if I were you on the Sunday coffee date. I will say.
I did have to worry. So
Okay.
I do think a guy being like, "Do you want to get
Let's go
coffee
talk."
today?"
like right now,
Yes,
Right. I
yeah.
is
gotta
a little
get this
right.
off my
And when that's
chest.
not his style, I do think would be a little bit of a something might be coming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you go to
Something's coming.
coffee where?
So we didn't pick a place. I just said one, and then we meet outside. And he's like, "Where do you want to go? Let's go somewhere cute and cozy." And I was like,
That's
annoying.
Okay.
Cute and
So we go to
cozy.
St. Hardim.
Okay, love another plug city. I've given many a plug to Saint.
Smell
Is
reading.
it Jardim or Hardim?
I don't know actually. It could be Jardim.
I mean,
thought
it could be.
I'll
I've
have to
always
find out in Ken.
We'll find out then. Great coffee wine hybrid. So
Yep.
to me, that's a place that could be coffee. Move into
Could be a date. I mean,
a
he said, "Let's
date.
find somewhere cute and cozy."
That's-
I would be more relaxed after that. I'd
Right,
be like,
I
"All
I
right,
was
this
more
is a date."
relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then
Let's find somewhere cute and cozy for your
Yeah,
breakup.
right.
yeah. Yep. So we proceed to have what I thought was a date. We walk over, we order coffees, we're sitting by the window, like it's super cute. We're
Okay.
talking about like our weekends, our friends, just like his upcoming gigs and how he wants to full time like quit his job in 5 years and go be a DJ.
Maybe he's trying to get you to break up with him.
You know, in 5 years, I'll have no health insurance,
That's very
no retirement.
That's very 2010 of him. Right? I feel like people aren't quitting their jobs to be DJs anymore. Now they're quitting their jobs to be TikTok stars.
Oh, is that what?
I think so. Yeah.
TikTok DJ.
He might be
Yes.
trying to do that. He asked me for some tips on content.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, now we know. Okay.
So anyway, finish our coffee, and then he goes, "So I wanted to ask you, like, what are you looking for? You know, with dating, with us, all of that." And I was like, "Oh," but again, thought it was a good question because it's like 4 dates, like,
Right.
you know, it could be leading to something. So I was like, I'm looking for something serious. I'm like ready for that. Definitely not like looking for like anyone, but like my person, like all of that. And he was like nodding and smiling, and he was like, "Totally, like I get that." I was like, "What about you?" He goes, "Yeah, I was looking for that too, as of last year, and it's like 2 weeks into January." So I'm
Okay.
just like, "What do you mean by that?"
What was his New Year's resolution?
Fuck more bitches.
Which brings me
FMB.
to my point. Okay. yes.
So he goes, "Yeah, you know, tax season is coming up."
Oh my
and-
God. He did not
Oh,
say tax
the
season is
classic.
coming
The
up.
classic tax season.
Tax season is coming up.
Well, he is an accountant. It's not like he just brought this up.
They should take away his
He wasn't like a
CPA.
DJ. Now I'm going into accountant mode.
When the summer
It's
starts,
festival
like-
season
Yeah,
soon.
festival
Right,
season.
Okay.
And so I
Tax season.
was very
Beware.
Tax season.
beware of tax season.
Add it in. Beware of
Okay.
trips, deaths,
And tax
pandemics,
season.
and taxes.
So I kind of called him out on it. I was like, he basically said, "I'm going to be super busy. I'm going to be at work long hours on the weekdays, and I'm going to be working on growing the DJ business on the weekends. So I don't know when I would have time to date." And I was like, we live
That's
in
annoying.
the same building.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to put much effort into this.
Right. He's trying to not make it like
About
make it
you.
not personal because you live together. But I think that's almost more annoying.
Well, it's more personal
Because
it's don't
not
take
true.
me for an idiot.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Tax season?
Right.
Yeah.
right. I'm not
Right.
gonna walk away and
Right.
be like, "Oh, I forgot about tax season.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. Goodbye." Like,
Yeah. I'll hit you up in May,
right.
April 16th. Yeah.
Like, would you have rather, "Hey, let's go get coffee. I want to talk to you," and he sits with you and he goes, "Listen, we had some nice dates, but I'm just not getting to the next spot that I'd like to be at." Like, would that have been okay with you?
I almost don't even think a coffee was needed
Right.
at that point. And I said that to him. So I basically say,
Well, it's annoying that he's like going under the guise of this whole date.
yes.
Right.
And I brought that up. I said, "Listen, I don't think it's about you being too busy. Like, maybe you're not that into this. That's okay. Just be honest about it." And he
Right.
was like, "Yeah, like I think you're a catch, but like maybe I'm not that into it.
Right. So he made you break up with yourself.
Right. And it's like, I think like, you know, the messaging is like, this relationship is not a priority for me. Is like the way to say what he's maybe trying to say. Like, don't talk about tax season and, you know, because he doesn't even know how, and on the weekends I'm going to be doing, you know, the side stage at, you know, at Gov Ball. Which good for him. I'm not laughing at his dreams.
Got
it's
my
just
nephew's
more
bar
like,
mitzvah in June. I just don't think I'm going to be.
The Cohen bar mitzvah. I'm really trying
These
to.
gigs are just adding up.
Well, I just like, it's just the messaging and like, again, what are we supposed to expect from someone who says, well, you didn't want to text me for a date.
Right.
I wasn't sure. Like, I don't know.
Not a good communicator.
Yeah.
Right.
So I said, fair enough. If you're not into this, I don't see why we had to go get coffee. Like, I really would have preferred just like a text or something if you weren't into it. And he said, you're just such a nice person. Like, you're so good. I like had to like, I couldn't like just text you. I wanted to like take you out and tell you.
Okay. I think it actually is nice that he did. I think he should have told you at the beginning of the coffee date and not said some more cute and cozy. Could have done this in a Starbucks. But I do think it's nice because sometimes like I think people like that, especially if you're going to see the person you're building, that it's nice to have the full conversation, sit down. You can ask all the questions you want to ask and like have it be a respectful thing, especially because he's going to see you. I think if he had been on 3 dates with you and he didn't live in the same on the same floor as you, he didn't. The coffee would be unnecessary. But I actually think that was nice that he did that.
This isn't cute and cozy at all. So how has it been since that? Have you seen him?
So we walked back to my building. Very awkward. After together. I was at that point like make up an excuse, do something else. But we walked back. I kind of said, wish you kind of never did this because we have to see each other all the time. And he's like, I don't think we're gonna really see each other. And I was like, okay. He's like, it's not gonna be weird for me. Like, I'll say hi to you. And I was like, okay, sounds good. And then I was away for a couple of weeks. I think I got back like February, early March, and I saw him outside the building, walking on the street. So I did think he tried to look away and tried to not make eye contact, but I
mean, he's clearly not good at like, it seems like awkward. So like it makes sense.
Yeah.
This is all like sort of tracking for me in his like awkward. It's just kind of like, it's not reminds me of like an awkward guy's attempt to be smooth in this whole situation.
I guess writing the note is like, that's what a smooth guy would do.
Yeah.
You know, like
hiding behind it.
But again, like that also goes back to the original thing that I was saying, like be a man, make the move.
Right.
Like when you're bold, you're being a different version of yourself. That is not when I'm, you know, again, there's my best version of myself. There's my worst version of myself. I try to be the best one, but
what would you give him on the fuckboy scale? If 10 is like biggest fuckboy you've ever seen and 0 is like
no
mensch.
3. He didn't. He ended it.
3. I think he was direct. Yeah.
He was direct with an ending. He didn't come back. Has he been back since? Have you gotten texts from? Right?
If he didn't sleep with you, I would give him a 2.
Right. The sleeping thing to me, like at least there was a show of like I'm dealing with something that I'm not sure how to deal with, and has. Again, I understand why it's personal, but feels personal, but like it didn't, and like we wish that in his, you know, later he learns from these things as all of us wish we do.
He doesn't ask anyone else out on your floor.
Right, and I also don't think you should have played it any other way.
Yeah, I think you did the right thing.
Again, and it's like
I have no notes for her. I mean, I already gave them to you.
But this is a good follow-up to our last episode because the idea that you can be positive and persistent and direct and not be too much. Like I think like there was no I see nothing in this story where I'm like, Divya, come on. Like there's no like no, you were honest and you tried. And again, that's why his awkwardness looks even more awkward.
Yeah.
When one person's being their true authentic honest self and the other person is like not doing that.
Right. Well, he kind of gave me shit a little bit when on some of the dates about like the dating apps and like being on them, and he's said he's not on them at all. And
he's judging you for being on them?
Yeah, he's like, really? You're like on the apps? And I didn't love that. At the same time, I obviously love an IRL meet. This was really like a good story.
Right.
But I
is
think
he like too cool?
I don't know.
What was that? Like to me, like that is
one of the
it's not a good thing.
That you don't want to hear that from someone.
I just think
Like,
for
oh, you
someone to
need these
not
things?
understand,
Right.
like they're here. What else am I going to do? What do you want me to fucking do? Like,
Right.
and it's not like I
Like, it's
sitting
the
on
be-
them swiping while I'm on the date with you.
You should
I'm
say
not
it's the best way
obsessed.
to meet people who don't live in my apartment building. After that.
But yeah, I think it was still a good story, still inspiring to see that still happens.
Right.
Like
What are your takeaways from it?
my takeaways
Like,
are
what would you do differently on the next one? Anything?
maybe not. I mean, I'm not trying to like if I bought a house, I probably wouldn't like hook up with the neighbor there. Like, there's a
okay.
little bit of an
Right.
impermanence to living in a New York City apartment.
Right.
I think maybe more like, I guess.
If a
I don't-
guy
I think
put,
it'd
if
be
a guy
fine. Yeah,
put
I
a
think
note
you
on
could
your door
yeah.
again, would you do it again?
I think so.
I think you should.
I would
Yeah.
do it.
I think to the listeners, like if there's a takeaway, it's like you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, like these things that we avoid because work and office and whatever. And
It always
and
turns out
apartment,
okay.
It always
Right.
works itself out.
Yeah.
You're
It's a fun
human,
story.
You're gonna be.
Yeah.
You're
And
gonna survive and be
once
better
in
for
one
it.
like in 1,000 people it works out, or 1 in 100, or whatever the stat is. It's like a lot of people do meet people at work. A lot of people
Right.
do marry their neighbor. Like it happens.
Right. Let's not consider the exception the rule, but it's also like, again, like
And I think by communicating like the way you did, you saved yourself a lot of time. Like this
Right.
ended by mid-January,
Yeah.
right? And like it could have. I think this is the kind of thing where it could have gone into like May
Right.
if you weren't super clear with what you were looking for and super like straightforward about what you
well,
wanted.
part of me thinks, I don't know what you guys think about this, but part of me thinks when he asked me what I was looking for, if I had said something casual, that it might have extended into.
I think he set you up for that one.
right. No, he
No,
knew.
I don't think he was like expecting her to be like, I'm looking to hook
I
up.
just want to fuck
Yeah.
every Tuesday whenever you get back from DJ.
Right.
Like
Yeah. I think he asked that question knowing what the answer was so that that could lead him into his discussion.
Right. And I think, there's there's a positive way to look at this, that being neighbors made it a better experience.
Right.
Like it forced conversations.
You had the
It
coffee date
forced-
breakup.
Right.
Yeah.
It forced all of this.
Right.
It forced it closer to how you would want it than to how you wouldn't want it. And again, this goes back to the aunt theory, the introducing people to your friends, we go away from that, but we should be going towards it. Like Esther Perel talking about meet the friends. Like, yeah, but let's bring in the
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
Like make it a fucking problem.
Yeah. Do you think you would have swiped right on him on a dating app?
Maybe not.
Right.
See, this is
That's another part of it, I think.
if he's listening. Well, this is the part that also like
I know that annoys you, but I'm just wondering because
Well,
I
I
just do think that
think
lads do it. Like I think she's more into it because of the way that it happened.
I think to your point, it's like he carries himself in a way that was attractive to me,
Right.
and you can't get that from
from
a
a
dating
nap.
app.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's so much more exciting to meet someone from an app.
That's probably why a lot of women get so angered by the guy they wouldn't have gone with, who they then end up with.
Right.
Because they're like,
Yeah.
But you're thinking of it in terms of like black and white.
Right.
Like,
No,
it's-
Or the
Totally,
like
yeah.
the finance 6'5", whatever. Like this guy wasn't 6 foot. Like
Right.
it's not like
Yeah.
you maybe see his height on an app and be like,
No, it's about. I'm saying that's why, like, within 5 minutes of going on a date with someone, if they're or meeting someone in person, if you're going to be into them, it's just like a vibe thing.
just by their other room musk.
Well, I hope he had a successful tax season.
Yeah.
and-
Good luck with the DJing if
Yes.
he's listening. And I hope that we gave an empathetic view to his side of the story, but also, Divya, are you out there dating? What's going on?
I am out
Yeah.
there dating. Was back on the apps a little, dabbled in the apps, but now that it's summer, I'm ready.
IRL summer.
IRL summer.
Love
And
it.
where can people find you if they want to slide into your DMs? Or
Um,
if they or someone they know would like to slide into your DMs.
No neighbors, but if you're not a neighbor, Divya, DIVYA.IJARI, Jari.
Love
Okay.
it. Well, thank you for coming on. This was fantastic.
This was awesome.
Thank you
Jordana,
for
we
having me.
self-dating again.
We did it. Proud of us. We'll be back on Wednesday.
Boom.
Bye. The U Up podcast is produced by Candace Maniga and Shannon Sassone. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico and Shannon Sassone. Social media by Candace Maniga. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.